In the Philippines, when we think of a souring agent, sampalok or tamarind usually comes to mind. But in Batangas, there's an underrated fruit that packs just as much punch: Kamias, more commonly known as Kamias in other regions. Growing up near Taal Lake, Kamias was always a familiar sight. It was a staple in our cooking, especially for dishes that remind me of childhood. I still remember the taste of sinigang na tilapia sa Kamias. Its light but rich broth perfectly complementing the fresh fish we would catch from the lake. And of course, there was sinaing na tulingan. Even today, we still use Kamias in sinigang na isda, and it's incredibly simple to make. First, I add water to a pot or pan, then toss in Kamias, tomatoes, onions, and garlic. Once it starts to boil, I mash the softened tomatoes and Kamias with a sandok to release their flavor into the broth. Then I season with salt and of course a little magic MSG. Because let's be honest, a little lasa never hurt anyone, unless you believe the myths. In which case, don't worry, I won't tell. Next, I add the fish. This time I used maya, but you can go with tilapia, bangus, or whatever fresh catch you have. To make it even heartier, I throw in some talong, letting it soak up the flavors of the broth. And finally, just before turning off the stove, I add talbos ng kamote, letting the residual heat gently wilt the leaves. The result? A bright, comforting soup where the natural sourness of Kamias balances perfectly with the delicate flavors of the fish and vegetables. Despite its versatility, Kamias remains overshadowed by other souring agents. Perhaps it's time we give the recognition it deserves, not just an ingredient, but as a reminder of the simple, natural flavors that make Filipino cooking so special.